Hello, I'm Chuck Allred, and welcome to the step-by-step tutorial for how to play Everything Stays by Rebecca Sugar on solo fingerstyle guitar. We're going to get right to the tutorial, but before we begin, I need to explain a little bit of terminology so you understand what I'm saying. I am going to say right hand and left hand. I'm sorry if you are left-handed and you play the guitar the other way, but I just can't help it, so I just decided to admit that and just go with it. So if I say right hand, I mean plucking hand, and if I say left hand, I mean fingerboard hand. My apologies if it's the opposite hands for yourself. And then for the fingers, which we'll be naming a lot, for the right hand, plucking hand, we use the Spanish names for the fingers in classical guitar, and then we use those abbreviations. So we have P for thumb, I for index, M for middle, and A for ring. So P-I-M-A. That's what I'm going to use. For left hand, we have numbers. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So this way, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then the strings on the guitar. Okay, so I'm playing a 6-string guitar, and I will use first string, second string type of terminology. So the first string is the high E, the small string on the guitar. Second string, third string, fourth, fifth, and sixth. Okay, so for instance, I'll say the G on the first string with third finger played with I, that kind of stuff. Okay, just so that we're clear, now let's get right to the tutorial. If you want to hear me kind of discuss some ideas about learning the piece and philosophies about what to think about, and also if you're struggling with learning the piece, then stick around afterwards. I talk for a few minutes, actually several minutes, about these things. But I think it's helpful information if you want to learn the piece, and especially if you're having trouble with it, you'll probably want to hear it. So I hope the tutorial helps, and best of luck in learning the piece. Alright, so to start off, we're going to start with this open G chord. So we're going to play the G on the 6th string at 3rd fret with 2nd finger, and then we're going to play an open D on the 4th string, open G on the 3rd string, and open B on the 2nd string. And our melody note is this B. With right hand, we're going to do P-I-M-A. Easy peasy. And you can roll it or pluck it, whatever. So that's the first chord. Right after that, we're going to play this D on the 2nd string, 3rd fret with 3rd finger. And I'm also going to play that with A. And that's our melody note. Right after that, we're going to do a descending slur. And then come back to the D. Descending slur just means you pluck the string with your left hand finger. If you do a pull off, you're not going to make any sound. So pluck the note with that finger very firmly, and then come right back to that D, and then I'm still playing that with the A finger. So I've got A. Our next chord is this chord. I've got this C, 5th string, 3rd fret, 2nd finger. I've got this E, 4th string, 2nd fret with 1st finger, and then we've got the open B on the 2nd string, and my right hand fingering is P-I-A. Right after that, we're going to play the open G on the 3rd string. That's that kind of gesture. And then when I play that G, I would mute the B with your A finger. So I'm going to play A, I'm going to play the G with M, and right when I play the G with M, I'm going to touch the ringing second string to cancel it out. The reason is because if you were singing this line, you wouldn't be able to let notes ring over each other, right? Each note happens in its own space. So to try and duplicate that type of texture, that's a good way to do it. If you let them ring, it's not the worst thing in the world, but you don't have a very clear melody now. It sounds kind of like you just played a chord. It's a cool sounding chord, but we got to make sure we're playing the song. Okay, so after that, back to this G chord that we started with, P-I-M-A with the right hand. Then we're going to do the D on the second string, 3rd fret with 3rd finger. Then we're going to do an open E, open 1st string. Then we're going to do a G, 1st string, 3rd fret with 4th finger. And my right hand there, after I pluck the chord, is going to do M, A, M. And as soon as we play this G, we're going to slide up what we call a glissando. Slide up with 4th finger to the B on the 7th fret of the 1st string. And you're actually going to get there right before you play the chord. So you're going to hold this G long enough so that you hear that G, that note, but then you're going to take it up there, nice and smooth. Try not to hear really the notes in between, just from here to here, and it's in the arm. See my arm move. If you do this, I do that sometimes, but not here, because I need to be in this position with all my fingers to play that next chord. So arm to get to that chord. Okay, so this chord is going to be, let's start from the bottom, a D sharp on the 5th string, 6th fret with 2nd finger. Then an open 2nd string, which is a B, and then a high B that we were already at from the slide with 4th finger. And then right after that, we're going to play the A with 1st finger on the 1st string on the 5th fret. So for this chord, my right hand does P, M, A, right? Yeah, P, M, A. And then we have another descending slur. You could pluck this A if you want. That's okay. I would just make the B louder than the A. I wouldn't go. That doesn't sound as smooth. Or do a descending slur. Just pluck it. And if you can add some vibrato there, I think it's a good place to add it. If you do vibrato, let go with your thumb. It helps. It works for a lot of people. Just let go with your thumb and shake your whole hand back and forth like this while you're holding the chord. All right. What's next? Okay. Next is this chord. So I've got open 6th string. It's an E. Then I've got this another E. 7th fret on the 5th string with 3rd finger. Then I've got open 3rd string, which is a G, open 2nd string, which is a B, and this A, 5th fret, 1st string. And my right hand is going to do thumb, thumb, let's see, P, P, I, M, A. So just drag the thumb and do I, M, A on top. After that, we're going to play this G. It's on the 2nd string on the 8th fret with 4th finger. is your melody. Yeah. So after that, we go back to the A, 5th fret, 1st string, then to the B on the 7th fret, 1st string with 4th finger. I think right hand, I don't know what I'm doing. I think I do I, A, M after the chord. I, A, M. Yeah, that works. So after we play this B with 4th finger, we're going to shift down again with the arm, not with the hand, but with the arm. The 4th finger is going to end up on this A, 1st string, 5th fret. We're going to add a C, 5th string, 3rd fret with 1st finger, and we're going to add an open G, open 3rd string in the middle. And that's the chord chorusing. But keep in mind pretty quick, we're going to go to this G on the 1st string, 3rd fret. So when you get this set, actually you can set these at the same time if you want. You can just lift it, but at least know that it's coming so you don't have to be surprised by it. You're ready for it. Right hand, let's see. So this chord I'm going to do P, I, A, and then M for that G. Because I don't want to double fingers if I don't have to, or if it doesn't just feel super natural to do it. After that, we have an E, open 1st string, and then I think that's my fingering. Well, it works anyway. So the open E, which I'm going to play with A, right hand. Then we have this D, 2nd string, 3rd fret. Then we're going to play another chord, the G chord. This time I'm going to play the low G, 6th string, 3rd fret with my 1st finger. And it's the same chord as the beginning of the piece. We're just going to finger it this way. So I've got this G, open 4th string, it's a D, open 3rd string, it's a G, open 2nd string, it's a B. Then we're going to play the D with 2nd finger, 2nd string, 3rd fret, and then we end with this 2-note chord. It's open 4th string is a D, and 2nd fret, 3rd string, with 1st finger is an A. So from this chord, I've got P, I, M, A. Whenever you can line that up, I would use that fingering because it's easy. And then I'm going to do M, and then I like to do P and I for these little 2-note chords. Okay, so then we have the same material from the beginning. Now it's a little bit different. Last time we had this chord. This time we are going to add this G, same chord as before, except we're going to add 4th finger on this G, 2nd string, 8th fret. Oops. So it adds this half step, this ringing half step in the chord, which makes it sound a little bit gnarlier. And same right hand technique, P, P, I, M, A. And we're going to play the G first, then do the chord, then play the G again. It's the sequence of events. So this with M, then P, P, I, M, A, and then M. Then we're going to play the A, 1st finger, 5th fret on the 1st string, B on the 7th fret of the 1st string, and then after I play, I'm gonna do M, play the chord, either, and then maybe, let me see. I think I would do M, chord, I, A, M, and then P, I, A. So again, I know this is very detailed. M, chord, I, A, M. Or you could do M, chord, M, A, M. But for a lot of people, if you do M and A back and forth, you're not going to have a good time. It's not conducive a lot of times. I would just try things out and do what feels natural. Okay, so after that, we're going to shift to this chord again, which is A, 1st string, 5th fret, C on the 5th string, 3rd fret, and then we have the G in the middle. And then remember, it goes like before, it goes from A on top, 5th fret to 3rd fret. Like that. I think that's the rhythm from the song. Sometimes if I want to be super dramatic, I change it a little bit. Something like that. So originally the rhythm is if you want to milk it a little bit, especially like if you're going to play it twice, like I did on the video, the second time you can do a few of these like more dramatic things. So you can try that out if you want. Okay, so where were we? After this, we're going to have open E, 1st string, and then the D, 2nd string, 3rd fret, then a G chord like before, then a D, then pretty quick we're going to have this. I think that's how it goes. Yeah. So we have the G chord, the D, the A, I'm sorry, G chord, D, E, then an A on the 3rd string, 2nd fret, and then we have an open D on the 4th string. It's kind of a weird rhythm, but if you just feel the beat and put things where, like, you know, it forces it to be even, dun, 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 then that's the only choice that you have. For right hand, let's see. Probably gonna do M, A, I, P, right? Full chord, P, I, M, A, M, A, I, P, because that's just how it lines up. M, A, I, P. Okay. Okay, so now we are to the next section of the piece. So we're going to go back up to this B, 1st string, 7th fret, with 4th finger, and we're going to do a descending slur. If you've never practiced a descending slur between 4 and 2, you might need to practice it a little bit. I need to practice it like every day. I think it's my worst combination of slurs. It's even worse than this one. So do something like this. Just try and get it working. Remember, you've got to have 2nd finger down and like firm. A lot of times what screws me up in slurs is like the 2nd finger is not down and firm enough. So make sure it's very grounded, like you're going to play it with a normal note. So when you pluck to it, you can pluck hard, and the second finger will be good to go. So do some of these. You could pluck it to, whatever, that sounds fine. But if you work your slur technique, you can find places to make it, make your music seem more interesting, maybe. So we're going to slur from the B on the 7th fret to the A on the 5th fret, and then we're going to shift down to the G with 2 here. When we shift down, we're going to catch the C, 5th string, 3rd fret, and then we're going to play a chord here. P, I, A, right hand, C, open G, 3rd string, and that high G, P, I, A. As soon as we play it, we're going to do a hammer-on or ascending slur. The term hammer-on makes more literal sense here. Yeah, I mean, a lot of force with 4th finger back on the A. And work this technique so that you can make a decision here. Or, you know, what do you think sounds better? You're gonna milk it a little bit? Or are you gonna make it quick? Like a grace note. Almost like it was at, what do you like? If you don't know, you need to try it out and make a decision. So then after that, I'm going to leave the 1st finger on the C on the 5th string, 3rd fret. And I'm going to reach up to the B on the 1st string, 7th fret. And I'm going to play the chord with this C, open 3rd string G, and this B. Now here's an instance. Remember before how I was like shift with your arm, not with your hand. Okay. Now I'm leaving my arm there, and I'm gonna like flatten my hand out. Right. So it's like I'm trying to stretch it out as much as I can. And you know, when I'm playing, you want to keep your fingers curled, right? It's very advantageous for more reasons than I can mention here, except when you can't. So if I was going to keep my finger curled, it gets pretty painful. So I'm just going to reach with 4th finger. It's totally straight to get that stretch. And you can do it too. Usually also my thumb is up here. You can't really see, but when I do this, my thumb is like further down. Because and also my elbow is moving this way to get this, right? This is not that bad. You just have to use everything to your advantage to get a stretch like this, right? And then, like, okay, my wrist is bent, but don't put pressure on your wrist to further bend that way. It's only bent because it's not uncomfortable. If you do this and your wrist is bent and it feels very uncomfortable, that's not good technique. It's not good to practice, and you run a risk of injuring your hands that way. So it's only bent because I have to stretch that way, but all the pressure is coming from the fingers, right? And I'm not really adding any pressure with my thumb, because if I start to add pressure with my thumb, then that starts to make it very uncomfortable. I'm trying to think of a cheat for you. I can't really think of one. You could just not play. You could just do this, and no one would know. I would know, but no one else would know. And I would forgive you. I would understand why, and I would forgive you. Now, why does that work? Because we have not obstructed the melody. That's why that works. If you had to sacrifice the melody to I know that you don't have to there, but just pretend if you did, that would not work. That's not okay because you're changing the song, and that's too important. We can't do that. I'm cheating here, and it works because the melody is intact. That's all most people are listening to anyway, so it doesn't bother them. I guess I wanted to hear this bass note again, and just kind of hear the clash. Anyway, that's some options to help you get around that stretch, because stretching is difficult, I know, but you got to find ways to, you can't lengthen your fingers, so you got to find ways to work with what you got. Okay, where was I? Sorry. Okay, so after I do this, what do we want to do? Probably go back to the A with 4. And then we're going to go 2 Gs with second finger, 3rd fret, 1st string. Right hand fingering, I don't know. Maybe do A, M, I, or some combination. Whatever allows you to do this, like really easily as you can. For most people, it's going to be M, I. It might be A, I. I don't know, however you can make it work. So right after we do that, we're going to hold this G for just a minute while we play a low E 6th string with thumb. And we need those to ring over each other, because this is melody, and now we have a chord change. So we get this kind of feeling. Oops. And then after that, we're going to finish out that E minor chord by playing open 3rd, open 2nd, open 1st string, G, B, E with I, M, and A. And don't hammer those. It's easy to hammer open strings. It's easy, but have control and play them with finesse, because we're kind of settling there instead of like stomping on it. And then we're going to do low E 6th string, open 3rd, open 2nd, and then this G 2nd finger on the 3rd fret. Then we're going to do, so that's thumb, P, I, M, A. And then we're going to do A on the 1st string with 4th finger, 5th fret, and then come back to the G. And so I'm going to do P, I, M, A, and then this chord is P, I, A. This is a scenario for me that feels very natural, just to use A to double, not try to alternate the fingers, because it's not too fast, and I feel like it keeps my hand lined up. Okay, so after this chord, we have this chord, open D, 4th string, 2nd fret, 3rd string, A, and then 1st string, 2nd fret, F sharp, right? Yeah, and my right hand is doing P, I, A. Okay, then I'm going to do this chord. It's a B, 5th string, 2nd fret, and I guess this is a D sharp, 2nd string, 4th fret with 4th finger, immediately followed by an open B, 2nd string, and let's see, I do thumb for here obviously, and then M, which is an A, 3rd string, 2nd fret. And then after that, we're going to play that A again, but we're going to add a C in the bass, 5th string, 3rd fret with 3rd finger with thumb. And then right after that, we're going to let go with that A, 3rd string open G. And again, don't hammer the G. Think kind of like before. Control. So the A is louder, the G is not as loud. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, right after that, we're going to play low E, 6th string, and then this little E minor chord, open 3rd string, open 2nd string, a high B on the 1st string, 7th fret, and then we're going to slur to A, 4 to 2 again, our favorite left-hand combination, not really. But this is why you work on technique. So everyone's going to have things that are not their favorite things. Maybe your 4 to 2 slur is great. If you have super long fingers, you're probably like, what's the big deal? This is not hard. But for you, it will be something else. So work on the weak spots in your technique so you can just play music. And you don't have to, not do something you want to do because you're obstructed technically. So this chord, slur to the A, and then move down to the G, 1st string, 3rd fret, all with 2nd finger there, and then with the chord P, I, M, A, and then I'm going to do 2 more A's. How's that go? Yeah, that's how it goes. So P, I, M, A, slur, and then A, A. So after 2 G's, we're going to play C, 5th string, 3rd fret, and then a G, 3rd string open with P and I. And then we're going to play an open E, 1st string with A. Is that little gesture? Okay, now here's my favorite part of the piece is right here. This chord. Ugh, what is that? I don't know what it is. Someone tell me. I could figure it out, but I'm lazy. So this is the only. I think this is the only bar chord in the piece. Is it? I don't know. I think so. So here's how you play it. 1st finger on this C, 5th string, 3rd fret. You're going to bar, still with 1st finger, 3rd fret, 3rd string, yes. You're going to play, what is this, an E flat? 2nd string, 4th fret with 2nd finger, and then your melody note is with 4th finger, it's on the 1st string. It's a B flat, I guess. And then with the chord, I'm immediately going to go slide to the A on the 1st string. That's probably easier. Well, I do this 4, 4, and then I slide to 4. Could do this, but anyway, this is how I ended up playing it. Sometimes you can like guide with 4. It's actually not too bad and can be pretty helpful. So right hand's going to play P, I, M, A. Whoops. And then I'm going to do A on top and then M. And then what am I going to do? I'm going to do A, M when you get to that G. So slide to the G, 1st string, 3rd fret with 4th finger and do A, M with right hand. And then put down this chord. play a low G, 6th string, 2nd finger, and then a chord. 4th string open, it's a D. 3rd string open, it's a G. And then the melody note is a D. 2nd string, 3rd fret. Like this. Boom, ching, boom, ching. I try to make that all connected. This is like my favorite part of the piece, so I colored it when I played. My normal kind of tone was more slightly brighter, not super bright, but a little bit brighter. But then I colored because it's just so pretty. So I would come up with a special tone color for this. Or if you feel that way about another moment in the piece, then like do it there. But wherever you feel strongly like, oh, this is my favorite part of the piece, oh my God, let us know. Like, please, make it the most beautiful crafted part, and you got to spend time working on that. Actually, okay. If you're gonna arpeggiate it, right? You have to do more than to say, I'm going to arpeggiate it. How? What is the internal rhythm of that arpeggio? Is it or is it more drawn out? Or somewhere in between? Does it start slow and then pick up momentum? Or is it so quick that we don't hardly even notice it? Man, those can sound really nice. It make you sound like you really know what you're doing, and you're not like overindulging yourself. Unless you want to overindulge, then do that. But playing those movements. Okay, I'm almost done. Let me see. The last part, leave 2nd finger here, and we're gonna play an open G chord, just like at the very beginning. G, 6th string, open 4th string D, open 3rd string G, and open 2nd string B with PIMA. And then D, 2nd string, 3rd fret, A, open 1st string, E, open 1st string with A. And I'm going to go M, A, then this is an A, 3rd string, 2nd fret, 1st finger. And I'm going to play with I. And then right after that, I'm going to play an open D, open 4th string. What is it? Sorry. Sorry, I keep screwing up. So after you're at this A, open D, how about, why don't we do this? Open D, C, 5th string, 3rd fret with 3rd finger, and then we're going to go to B on the 5th string, 2nd fret, 2nd finger. At the same time, we're going to play a D sharp, 4th string, 1st fret, 1st finger. At the same time, we're going to play an open B, 2nd string open. So, because of the spacing, my fingering for right hand is going to be PIA. Does that make sense? You might try doing 4 here, if that's what you like. I would probably do that. I like that. Last note. Sorry. try it out and see what works for you. Okay, so here in this chord, and then we're almost done. Oh my God, we're almost done. Open second string B, then an A, third string, second fret. Very quickly open G on the third string. So I'm going to do P I A M I. Let's practice this. That's the last note. And the last note is an E on the fourth string on the second fret with the low E. You can play them together, or you could arpeggiate them. I think I did the second way. If you do the second way, you can milk it a little bit, maybe, like put an effect on that low E. Oops. There's something, I don't know. That sounds nice too, though. Something. Be creative, right? Come up with your own ideas. If you play it 2 times, you could do one of each. Like maybe the first time you could go and then start it again, and then next time, I don't know. I'm just making stuff up now. But try stuff out. Endings, right? I like to talk about endings. It's like you've played the whole piece. You've played it 2 times through. You have one thing left. What are you gonna do? Yeah, I don't know. I won't finish it. You decide. It's like this is the ending punctuation on what I have to say. Man, is that important? So, come up with something that you think is really special and that really fits. You know, it may not fit. That probably doesn't fit, you know, unless you're going to look at it from a very different perspective. So try to make it fit, and make it go just the way that you think it should go. These are the kind of things you don't get from a tutorial. I'm sorry, I can't make up your mind for you. I can just say, do make up your mind. Try things out and pick the best one. So that about wraps up the tutorial. I hope it was helpful, and best of luck in learning the piece. I'll mention just a few more things that I feel obligated to mention. The most important being that I'm a classical guitar player, and if classical guitar playing is new to you, I'm glad that you found it, but you might want to start with some very fundamental things about playing in the classical style. If you are trying to learn this piece and you're having a lot of difficulty, the tone production might be a brand new concept. The way you use your fingerboard hand, the way that you have to press very hard sometimes, be very light other times, be very limber and stretchy other times. It takes a lot of getting used to. But I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Chuck, I don't want to learn classical guitar. I'm not interested in it. I'm interested in playing this piece. But you see, I fooled you, because you are interested in classical guitar. Because it's how this piece is played. It's style. It's form. It's its tone of voice. At least, this arrangement on the guitar. And if you want to play it, I would say that it probably has some appeal to you. And those things come from somewhere. The great piece comes from Adventure Time and Rebecca Sugar writing the piece. But the arrangement, its techniques, their execution, all of those things come from classical guitar. So, there's no obligation per se, but I would certainly encourage anyone who wants to learn this piece, especially if you run up against a brick wall. It's okay to be a little frustrated, but don't give up. Don't despair, don't get to that point. Learn some more about the classical guitar. I've been thinking about putting up a video to kind of introduce classical guitar style and its techniques. Talk about plucking hand and fretboard hand, and kind of mention maybe some things to start with. I haven't done that because there are like a million of those videos out already, surely, I imagine. But if someone wants to learn this piece, I feel like they may not find them, or obviously they haven't found them yet. If you've watched this tutorial and you're struggling, so I might do that. And if you think that would help you, then let me know. Again, it's not that the information isn't already out there. It would just be a very readily available source. You wouldn't have to go hunting for it. But keep that in mind. If you like this piece and you want to play it, you are interested in classical guitar. And congratulations. It's awesome. You should be interested in it. You should want to play it. And when you play something and play it well, you should feel very proud and like you contributed something beneficial to the world. So don't let it scare you away. Look into it. Sometimes people think like, oh, if I get interested in a new genre of music, like classical music, that means I've got to leave all my other stuff behind, I've got to leave my pop music behind, or my TV music behind, or my whatever music that you like. On the contrary, if you look into the cultivation and the study of music, you will find new ways to appreciate the music that you already love. You won't stop appreciating it, probably. Maybe one or two, songs, you'll be like, well, we just kind of change as people. It might happen. But mostly, you'll figure out new ways to appreciate music that you already loved. And it's like so awesome. It's like discovering it all over again, stuff that you didn't even know was going on. So, people that don't want to do this are deterred because it takes a lot of work, a lot of time. You have to be patient. It doesn't happen immediately. But people comment on this video and they say, I need you to make a tutorial because I can't learn off the tablature, and nothing that you said in the lesson video helped me. That may still be the case after you watch this tutorial video. It's just not that simple to explain. I did my best. I don't really think, should I even say this? I don't even really think this video will help you play the piece. Like, maybe it does, but I don't really think so. Like, you already have a video of somebody playing it, and you can see their hands for the most part, and then you have the music, and you can listen to it. You can listen to the song from the TV show you can find on YouTube. Find one of those like hour-long loops or like 10-hour-long loops or whatever. Those are all the resources that you need to be able to play it. All you have to do is work very hard, especially if it's like brand new to you. It's not going to happen overnight. If you heard this piece and you're like, oh my God, I love that, I just have to play it, then that's such a great feeling. I know exactly what that feels like. And it's a great thing to feel. It's a great goal to have. Just keep in mind, especially if you felt like you needed this tutorial, keep in mind you've got to persevere and push through this stuff. And it might take a little bit longer than you thought, okay? I'm a very typical classical guitarist. I'm not like a talented player, right? I know talented players. And there's a big difference. But I spent years working on this stuff. So when I play something like the Everything Stays arrangement, if it sounds easy when somebody plays it, then it does feel easy to them. They've cultivated it to that degree. If you can, even if you can play through this music, but you're struggling the whole time, it's going to sound like struggle. And you just don't want it to sound that way because you're not saying anything. And then here's the last thing I'll say. This might sound kind of harsh, but just give me a second. I've talked in other lesson videos about how important I think music like this is. It's folk music of our time. It deserves the same kind of consideration that really, arguably, any historical music deserves in interpreting it. That means in how you play it, how you present it, how it sounds. Okay. If you can't imagine a way to play this piece yourself where you are presenting it with something that you bring to the table, then you shouldn't play it. You should enjoy other people playing it to do that. No, let me explain, because I don't want to scare people away. If you're one of those people that you're like, well, I love this piece and I've got to play it, then you have to get it to the point where you can say something with it. You've thought about it, you can describe it in words. This is what this piece means to me. It sounds like this. It reminds me of this memory, or this time, or this feeling, or this show, right? I mean, when the song comes up in the show, man, a lot of stuff had just happened. And that was one of the reasons I think why it hit me the way that it did. Also, it hit me because it was so short. Like, just when it hooked me in, the song was over, and I was like, wait, what was that? And I immediately went on YouTube and looked it up. And I started arranging it that night. I mean, it grabbed me. I didn't have a choice. So if you feel that way, you got to be passionate and bring something to the table. Now, don't hear me say that I don't think you have something to bring to the table. I think you do. You just have to find it. Maybe it's similar to someone else's approach, and you're kind of reiterating, or you're putting your own spin on it. It doesn't mean you've got to play it, weirdly. You just have to play it like truly. And getting through the piece from beginning to end is not playing it truly. It's like only step number one. And that's my beef when I hear people say, I need a tutorial. That's like the least important stuff, okay? If you want to know, my important thoughts about the piece, watch the other lesson video. That's all the important stuff. Because all I'm talking about is, what do you want to say? How do you say it? Kind of what options do you have? You do have to learn the notes. You do have to be comfortable with the techniques. I think you probably have to memorize it for most people. You'll be able to play it more comfortably if you memorize it. But man, that's step number one. And that's a longer process than most people are willing to go through. Okay? Especially in this day and age, right? Instant gratification. So don't be that way. Don't need that instant gratification. Push through, persevere, and it'll mean so much more to you. It doesn't matter if it's the only piece that you can play on the guitar. Oftentimes, that's all you'll get a chance to play for people anyway. Yeah? You'll be somewhere, there'll be a guitar out. Oh, I hear you play, or I heard you learn a song, play us something. And what they mean by that is play us one song and play it right now. If you're like, okay, well, let me go, in the other room and play some scales and stretch out and warm up. And no, they mean like on the spot. It's not your guitar. It's not in tune. It may not be a very well functioning guitar, and you've got to play. So you have an opportunity to play, something that's very meaningful to you that you've crafted. And what do? You have to play this piece that you've spent all this time working on and cultivating, so that even in those uncomfortable environments that are anything but ideal, your point comes across. Yeah? In classical guitar, there's a lot of emphasis on like perfection. Like, you have to play perfect. And I'm not immune to that. When I made the video, man, I think I did like 40 takes. Seriously. I mean, until I got one with minimal enough mistakes where I was like, okay, you know, if a classical guitarist sees this, I don't think they're going to gripe at me. For that, anyway. They'll gripe at me for something else, but at least I didn't play any wrong notes. But also, you know, it rubs off on you. I wanted to present it as in, like, I don't want there to be any hiccups. You know, I want it to be the closest I can get to my own pure intention of the piece. Okay? But the truth is, and it's one thing about a recording, okay? But I really do believe people don't really care about mistakes. They're trying to hear what you have to say. And I said earlier, like, if you're struggling through the piece from beginning to end, it sounds like struggle. That's not a good place to be in. You know, that's different. If all you're doing is making mistakes, you just can't possibly say anything, right? If you're just constantly stuttering and saying half words and half sentences, you're not making any sense. But if you say a sentence and you stutter a little bit, but then you get through it and then you finish your sentence, the audience still understood what you're saying, right? So, you know, kind of wrapping up my point. Tutorial, all good and well. I hope it helps you. If it does, then I'm glad. That's why I made it. But I don't think it'll fix those things. I really don't. You've got to be the one to come up with your own ideas, your own interpretations, and be like, why is this piece meaningful to me? And how do I make that come out to others? They may not be able to say, if you have a very specific feeling or picture in mind, they may not be able to, like, describe it back to you in detail. Well, they won't. But you can communicate with them in a more general manner, and it might mean something to them that you really could never imagined, which is something that I'm going to talk about in another video. So I don't want to say much more about that. But it's so important. So important. So number one thing, I mean, you gotta learn the notes, but a piece like this, it's so good. If it's too much of a burden on you to make your own interpretation, and you can't get past, I just want to learn the notes and play it, then just go easy on yourself and don't play it. Listen to other people play it and enjoy it. Maybe later you'll come back to it and you'll feel that desire. But if you're going to go through all the trouble to learn the notes, learn the movements, man, you got to put something together to say, and then that can be a really, really special thing. Okay, that's why we make art. So again, I don't mean to sound discouraging, and it's actually, I'm not trying to say I don't think you should play this piece or I don't think someone should play this piece. I'm saying play it, but with a very pure, very specific intention that you have to come up with and decide, you know, this is why I'm doing what I'm doing. And that kind of stuff you don't get from a tutorial, you know, play this note and then play that note and then play this note and then play that note. Who cares? Play the right notes, use the fingerings that you want. I can't even remember my own fingerings. Like, I'm trying to make this tutorial to help you, and I'm like, what did I do? I don't know. I mean, I'm not that organized. So use the fingerings and the positions and the moves that make sense, and you'll know if it's the right choice because you have something to say and it comes out. Okay? So I know that was a lot of ranting, but if you're struggling with this video, those are some things to think about, right? If you heard what I just said and you were like, you know what, I don't think that I can come up with my own interpretation, so I'm not going to play the piece right now. Like, that's a very mature and honorable choice to me. It's not a bad thing and it's not a shameful thing. It's just, I'm an artist. That's how important this stuff is to me. And that doesn't mean you can never come back to it later, right? When you are ready, right? But if you get a little interested, a lot of times people get a little interested and they hit a brick wall. And they're like, man, this is so much more work than I thought it would be. I didn't want to do this. I wanted to learn how to play the piece, but I didn't know this is not what I wanted to do. I wanted to do it this way. Sorry. It doesn't work like that. So you got to push through and find out about classical guitar, right? I have a playlist called Classical Guitar. So there's a lot of videos on there. Check it out. If you find a piece, give it a chance. Don't just skip through pieces, but you'll find a piece that you'll like. I think. Look at who wrote it. Look at the player. Look at more pieces by that player or more pieces by that composer. Listen to their sounds. One of the things about like YouTube videos, sometimes these sounds are like not at all representations of the actual sound that was happening in the moment, right? Especially acoustic instruments or classical instruments. But I think most of the videos, I kind of picked them because I thought they were at least decent. So listen to the sound some of these people make, and if that means something to you, look at what's going on. There's a lot involved. I just said this whole tutorial about how to play the piece note by note. I didn't once talk about sound production. How am I producing sound? It's pretty important. It's your tone of voice, yeah? And I didn't come up with any of it. It was all taught to me by someone who's a mad genius on the guitar. So look into these things, and if they take a little bit longer than you expected, man, just buck up and see it through. Or if you don't have the time, say, hey, I don't have the time. I'm going to come back to it later. And if you still have that interest, you will come back to it later. On that note, I know when I have an idea that I think is good, if I can remember it. When I was younger, I used to record every idea that I would think of for like a piece or whatever. I was so afraid I would forget it. But I realized the ones that I liked, I didn't forget. So I don't do that anymore. If I come up with an idea that I like, I play on it, and then I go to bed. And if I can remember it the next day, then I like it. If I can't, then it's like, well, I guess it really wasn't that important to me. And it's a really neat test. So maybe you're at a time in your life where you can dedicate time to this. Maybe you'll come back to it later if you have a passion for it. But it's something to think about. There's a little bit more to think about when you're playing a piece like this than I want to play it, I want to play the notes, I want to learn it, right? Okay. So I hope actually kind of me sharing my thoughts and experiences was helpful. I do want you to play the piece, despite everything I just said. I promise. I don't want you to be deterred if you're frustrated, and I don't want you to do anything less than put everything you have into it. It's that important. Like, I wouldn't have arranged it if I didn't think it was a great piece of music. So we have Adventure Time, this show, and Rebecca Sugar to thank for that, with the great music that she wrote. The way that they set it up and delivered it was just, it like really hit me. And I felt inspired to make the arrangement. So try and latch on to some of those things as you work on the piece. And good luck. Okay. Thank you. And have a wonderful day.